interstate, but it is more or less like a little small highway. I'm gonna hit the boost button. Welcome back, Kia Century viewers, and today we're going to be talking about, well, another Hyundai Kia product, but not necessarily the same thing, because today we're going to be talking about the Genesis GV70 Electrified. All right, so as we walk around the Genesis GV70 Electrified, or we're just going to call it the GV70 from here on out throughout the rest of the video, I want you guys to know that this particular vehicle has a very good history so far for Genesis, being that it's one of the few cars that, you know, was based off of a gas-powered vehicle, right? And the electrification part of it was done so well that many companies are starting to rethink how they're actually electrifying their vehicles. So sometimes, you know, other cars like the Hyundai, you know, Ioniq 5, the Ioniq 6, the Kia EV6, and of course the GV60 coming soon. Those cars all have a unique platform. They were based and built off of the, you know, the full EGMP platform, and that platform was designed and built for EVs. And excuse the wind, it's a little bit breezy today. I'm trying to make sure I kind of cover up as much as possible, so hopefully I can kind of get a lot of that out. But just look at the side profile of this car. It does have a very nice, elegant design. It's a nice flow that kind of comes across. And so the aerodynamics of this car is actually pretty decent. It's not the best in its class, but it's definitely not the worst. One of the things that people love about it, the fact that you do have this character line that kind of goes straight across all the way down to the rear panel and then integrates slightly into the taillights. It kind of fades out right here. So that's one key feature that people love. The wheels on this particular model are, I believe these are just the 265/45 R20s. So these are the slightly upgraded wheels. There is, I believe, a 21-inch wheel that's a more premium rim, and it is on the high-end trim. This model also has the available roof rails up top of here, so those can be, you know, very unique to have. I think a lot of people like them. Me personally, I don't mind them at all. They do reduce your overall battery consumption and use, so you have to be careful of that. Come around here to the back, we've got the Genesis GV70 logo, Genesis spelled out, which I like. And of course, you have that double arching LED strips across. Now, they don't meet together to give you a full double light bar, which is kind of a good thing, but it does give you a good separation. And it's now like this is the Genesis like marquee feature, right? It's the double tail lights and also the double headlights, which we'll get to in just a second. Down here at the bottom, you do have your rear camera. Let's go ahead and open this up. Oh, I forgot. It's right here. So you just push that right by the windshield wiper, and this is your interior. So coming inside, we actually have a lot of nice space back here. This is a decent sized trunk, but because of the sloping roof line, you do kind of cut out the height of it, so you won't get as much height. You do have your rear folding seats, which is a 60/40 split design. This, I believe, is one of the extra accessories that are going to be put on here. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'm not going to say what it is because I'm not sure. This is your first aid kit right here that you do get as usually as a standard feature. Coming over here, we also have, this is your manual. There's your GV70 manual. I remember back in the day, and oh, here's pretty cool. So this is the GV70's vehicle to load outlet. So I actually can plug up here, and I've got a maximum 120 volt at 16 amps. So it's a really nice feature, and I can actually lock that. So that way, if I don't want anyone touching it, I can just put my key in here and lock it, and no one can get access to it. So open up below here, you do have some below storage. I'm not gonna pull it all the way up. Actually, I believe I know what this is. This is the tonneau cover that kind of covers here. You can see the anchors over here on this side and over there. So you have those ability to kind of lock them down. Kind of coming back out, I did want to say thank you to the guys here at Genesis of Greer, also known as Fred Anderson Genesis. They were gracious enough to let me borrow this car for a little bit to kind of give you guys a good review on what this product is. So as I close it back down, And for all you guys that don't forget, this is your release button, and it's not down below like I just tried to fumble around for like the last 20 seconds. Here's the other thing, third brake light, beautiful design. I love the way this is kind of arched in. It's a nice little covered spoiler. A lot of people would say, why not put the rear wiper underneath this? I think this characteristic here kind of makes sense, especially since you added in that release button. You do have your shark fin antenna for your GPS up top, and your integrated antenna is for the, I believe it must be integrated into the shark fin antenna now. Most companies are doing that, they're not putting them into the rear windows unless it's a larger SUV. Parking sensors, of course, standard across the board. And let's kind of go around. You see the beautiful accent chrome trim on the door handles. Easier to see here. You can tap this to lock it. Of course, the car is still running, so that's why I'm getting the beep. And of course, you have the same chrome accent down here at the bottom. So that kind of goes around to give you a nice look overall. Integrated turn signals, kind of a standard thing now, but also you do have your cameras. This does have the 360 surround view camera system. And then going up top, we actually have the front camera, and there's a nice good sensor in there, which we can kind of talk about as we go through a drive. And then coming around to the front, here is the most beautiful part of this car, is if you didn't know, this looks exactly like it would be, you know, a typical gas powered car. You know, you got your double headlight design, which I love the fact you have the low beams and high beams, and the daytime running lights that kind of go across, which is a beautiful design. Front camera, your sensors down here at the bottom. Here's your radar system down there. But there's your Genesis logo. Beautifully designed. I think this is probably one of the best designs that you put a logo into a sculpted hood. It really makes it pop. But let's talk about the charging port. And if you didn't know, it's right here. And there's your charging door. So inside your charging port, you do have, of course, CCS, where you can actually, pull this out. So you have your J7712 up here, and then of course your CCS for DC fast charging. It does have a really nice indicator right here to let you know that you're actually charged to full. And we pretty much have a full charge on this car right now. Thanks to the guys there, they gave me a good one, so it just locks right in. And if I back up there, you would never know that that was a charge port door. The thing that sets it off and makes it stand out is if you see the G, that kind of tells you there, and also this little anchor right here in this corner with a little arrow lets you know that's where you will push. But of course, you can kind of push it anywhere. As long as you get enough pressure, it'll pop open. So you have your panoramic sunroof up top, which is really nice. Like I said, once again, here's your roof rails. I'm not a big fan of having those on the Genesis, but it doesn't bother me at all. It's going into the back seat. Now, let's talk about materials. Rear back door, we've got beautiful tinted windows. You have a pretty soft touch on the door panel. Soft touch here, leather wrapped. And then of course you have a beautiful aluminum design here, which kind of gives you like a, almost like a spider web mesh look. If you look at it, it's almost like a brushed aluminum look, I should say. You know, speaker grid on here, very small door pockets. I'm not a big fan of that back there, but I believe there's some cup holders here which makes up for it. You have your rear lock switch. This is something that a lot of cars don't give you, is a rear lock switch. So I can lock the doors from the front and the rear. Mirror control, window control, excuse me, and a really nice solid door handle. The stitching, oh man, the stitching is beautiful. And it's like they did a really good job listening to what their own owners had to say about this particular vehicle. Coming inside, we can see you still have a really nice leather. This, I think, is not the Napa leather. This is the standard leather. Door pocket, mat pockets on the rear seats of both. And then I'm gonna hop in behind myself. A little bit of a bump on my knee, but to be honest, it's not too bad. It's a decent, you know, was that about 2.5 inches of room. Now down here at the bottom, you do have very good controls. You've got your fan controls, you got your temperature on and off. You have your vent controls to control it coming from here or the feet. Below that, you have USB-A. Not a big fan of that, but that is changing soon for all Genesis and Hyundai models. They're going to USB-C. Then of course here you have your power seat, so you can move the seat up and down, you know, to kind of help for someone that's sitting behind someone else. Nothing on the driver's side. Of course, you got to be nice to the driver because you don't want to accidentally hit them and cause an accident. Here's your 60/40 split seat. And then, of course, here's your cup holders. Really nice here. That way you can kind of get, you know, decent sized cups. These are hard plastic on the bottom. So certain cups are going to kind of shift around a little bit, maybe even fall out if they're too tall, I should say. There's no center pass through because there's that 60/40 split. You got really nice headrests here. And then, of course, like I said, you do have your sunroof. And let's go ahead and open that up. And you can see this is a fully opening sunroof. This is not a standard glass panoramic roof that you see on most EVs now. So it does make it a lot more airy. Plus you can let air in when you want to kind of help reduce that out. So going back in, we're going to close that back up. As you can see, there is a way, of course, just to open up the cover and it goes back again. So really nice design here. Let's go ahead and hop in the front seat and talk a little bit more. All right, so as we get to the front door, same exact kind of design. Soft touch here with leather wrap. This down here at the bottom is, actually this is a leather wrap, which is nice. So it's not like it's a hard plastic behind, of course, but not as bad. A decent sized little bottle pocket. You can probably get a small bottle in there. A little bit of a hole, little cubby right here that you can use. Of course, you have your memory seats. And the memory seats, of course, are set to 1 and 2 positions. A set button. There's your power folding mirrors. And of course, your audio system, tweeters here, door speakers, same beautiful stitching, but also you have this silver trim that comes across the door, which is really nice. Coming here, I believe this is a 18-way power driver's seat. So you do have lumbar support, you have your massaging seat feature, you have your thigh rest, then of course you have your lumbar controls here, and this is adjustable in several different ways. It's just honestly just beautiful the way it's designed. And then we kind of get into the gauge clusters here. You got your parking brakes, your brake hole, you got your hill descent here. You know, of course, you have your illumination for your mirrors, for your dashboard, excuse me. And then you have your traction on and off. This is your vent controls, turn stocks, wiper stocks on the other side. This is a power adjusting, steering column. You have your steering wheel controls, which we'll jump into that in a second. So you get into the Genesis, power's off. A couple things we're going to talk about before we turn it on. You actually have your steering column here. So, and on the steering wheel, you've got your brake boost. Your regen up and down on the paddle shifters. You also have your mode select on this side, along with volume control and your phone controls. And on the right-hand side, you have all your cruise control and menu system for the actual inboard 8-inch screen. We're going to talk about that in a second. And a beautiful Genesis logo that's embossed into this leather-wrapped steering wheel here. And then a boost button. And the boost button is pretty cool because you can actually get up to 10 seconds of extra boost power when you need it. I'm not going to do that on this test drive because, trust me, I don't want to get in trouble. So we're going to put our foot on the brake, push the start button, and that is what it looks like on the 8-inch screen as it boots up. So it's kind of a combination of great features, right? We got some, really cool things here. If I actually hit my turn stock to go left, it shows my left camera. If I turn to the right, it shows my right camera. Normally with the full digital gauge, you'll get left on the left, right on the right. But with this one, they kind of consolidate, which I feel like it's kind of like I won't say a cop-out, but it's actually still nice that they still give you both screens. And then on top of this, you have a full in-gauge analog gauge cluster here with your battery voltage that stays on no matter what. And then, of course, I'm going to go down here to the center. Now, the center stack, we actually have some pretty cool features here. We got your climate control. That's a mix of physical buttons, dials, and touch panels. So I can actually cool and ventilate my seats just by touch. And just 3-stage on that. Oh boy, that got cold quick. Then of course you got your fan speeds, your AC on and off, heat. You have all your radio, media controls, your setup. This is really cool right here. Of course, you've got your physical button here for your hazards, but next to it, you've got your start button. And a lot of people don't realize that start button, if I just hit it now, it's probably not going to do anything because it's not been programmed. But, oh, there it is. So now I can actually tell it what do I want to do that start button to do. So if I wanted to always go to my EV, I just use this little jog dial here, and I'm going to push EV right there. So now it will actually show when I hit the start button, it's going to give you my EV screen. And inside my EV screen, I can actually see everything that I want to know about the battery life of my car. Right now, the air conditioning is technically on, even though it's not really turned up. So you see I got 97% battery life. I've got, just roughly 234 miles of available range. And if I do with the air conditioning on, if I turn the air conditioning off, I go to 235. So that's not a big difference in it based off of my current driving. As I drive the car more, it will adjust that and automatically make it a little bit more understanding that what you see here is not always what you're going to get. It could be more or it could be less. All right, coming down to the middle, you have your drive mode selector. If I push that, we're going to come back over here. You can see I have eco, I have comfort, and then I have sport. And I also have a my mode, so I can actually adjust that for what I want. If I hold it down, it will go into snow. But realistically, most people are going to use it in eco, comfort, or sport. I'm just going to put it back in comfort. And then coming over here, I actually have my parking sensors, which are already activated. You can see the little orange light is on. And I can tap that for my cameras. And then this is pretty cool because I can actually show you the full 360 camera system. And this is a touchscreen, by the way, so you can actually touch the screen.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I wasn't talking to you, Siri. Cancel. Okay, so you have the side cameras here. You also have your rear camera if you're doing any kind of towing, so you can align your towing. And then, of course, you have a 360 view, which is pretty nice because you can actually turn this around. And I can see what's around me. Now, I'm actually in the overstock lot for the Hyundai Kia group here with Fred Anderson. And so you can kind of see all the cars around me from different brands everywhere. Now, this is what kind of confused some people is the fact that you have two dials here. One is your gear selector, which is, park, reverse, neutral, and drive. I got my foot on the brake, so if I just put it in reverse, cameras go up, mirrors dip, all those things just pop up automatically. If I go straight ahead, that goes into drive. Camera's still on, but I'm actually seeing the front camera and not my rear camera. And of course, I have your, auto hold here. And like I said, this is your jog dial. So some people have gotten into this car and just grab this and not this. I think once you drive it for a while, you'll probably get used to putting your arm on the armrest here and kind of going through it. You have two nice cup holders right here. And these actually do have the guides to keep your cups in place. You have a nice little cubby here, which does have your USB-A ports again. Unfortunately, I hate that. And then, of course, you got your power port. This is the first one is for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. And then this is a Qi wireless charger. So let's see how well it does with this is an iPhone 15-inch Pro. I'm going to drop it in. And there you go. So it does show that it's activated. The amber light is on right there. So you can see that. And then, of course, you can just keep it covered. So really nice. The problem I have with this, though, is because it's not wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto yet, you still have to plug it in. So when you plug it in, it's going to look like this. It's going to look like that. So you have a wire that's sticking up. Now, you could probably tuck this in, but you got to be careful what kind of wire you put in because it's going to be sitting like that. So let's go back up here and see what CarPlay looks like. All right, and so there we go. All right, so you can see it's a nice size screen. I'm actually going to do something a little different because I think Apple Maps is great, but I was playing with Google Maps the other day, and Google Maps looks a little bit better in my opinion in some areas. Not everywhere, but in some areas. So I'm going to leave Google Maps up while we drive. And before we go, we're going to talk about the lockable glove box real quick. Like I said, it's lockable. I believe this is also ventilated as well, so it keeps things cool. This is aligned with felt, so it's very quiet and dampened. And then, of course, down here, we actually have more storage inside. Once again, little cubby space. There's a 12-volt outlet inside of here versus being upside. So if you wanted to run, some kind of a camera up here, it's going to be a little bit of a pain unless you have it wired into up here. Let's see if they have a USB port. Now, a lot of companies haven't done it yet, but most of them are starting to do this now, putting USB ports in the mirror area, which allows you to hook up a camera really easy. Of course, you got your, your waterfall mirror with your home link adapter to it. You do have a sunglasses holder. This is where I like a lot. Why does cars get away with doing that? Taking it out frustrates me. All right, so then we got your controls for your lights here. I have a really nice LED illumination light. Then of course I have the one that you can set up by the door. So as the door opens and closes, it comes on. SOS button. And then of course you do have that, which takes you to your subscription for your connected services. We're gonna hit cancel. And then let's see, so mirrors, of course, they are illuminated, and these do telescope. And you can always tell, if you didn't know, if you open up your mirrors and you see that it has these little arrows right here, that tells you it does telescope. And just so we can prove it, there you go. All right, we are ready for our drive. So let's get ready to get on the road. All right, so one of the things I want to just express to you how much I like this car a lot is the fact that it does have a very, very, very good sound. And when I say good sound, I mean it doesn't sound like anything. It's super insulated, right? We've got double pane windows on the sides and on the windshield. And it just really sounds excellent. Took those railroad tracks pretty smooth. It definitely stops really like aggressively. Now I've got the regen set to level 1, and if I go to max I pedal, and then that's one way that you can kind of get that full one pedal driving experience. Now this road right here is actually pretty smooth. It was recently paved a few years ago, so we should be able to kind of really get an idea of how well it drives. But I can tell you right now, the steering column itself is well behaved. It's a little soft, right? It's not great. It does kind of take the turns really well. It takes the bumps, I would say, extremely well. But as far as comfort and quietness, this car is really, I mean, it's like, I've been in Mercedes-Benz, E-Class and S-Class cars. I've been in BMW, the iX. Haven't driven it yet, but I've been inside of it and rode inside it when I was in Vegas. And I can tell you, it's quiet. It's really, really quiet as well. This is right up there with it. And that's the thing. The competition for this guy, it seems to be that it is going to be someone like the BMW iX, the Mercedes GLC EV when it comes out. Those are going to be the competition that's going to be really, really pushing this Genesis to its limits. Now the benefit though is Genesis gives you a lot of features for the money. And this particular model, which we haven't went over the pricing yet, we'll do it when we get back to the dealership, and we'll talk about how much all this tech that you get features with the leather, the large big screen, all the other features kind of integrating here, the massaging seats, the ventilated seats, heated steering wheel actually is not on this model. So you don't get a heated steering wheel on this one, but you do get a heated steering wheel on the upgraded model. The boost button, which I may give it a quick boost getting up here just to see, but I'm not going to get myself into a trouble of driving too fast. But the fact that Apple CarPlay, Android Auto does exist, and you do have to use a cable, it is a little annoying. But for those who have adopted to this car already, they've gotten used to it. And to be honest, it's, in my opinion, a better way to charge your phone through a wired solution than wireless. Wireless is great, but wireless does have issues with amperage, and we have to worry about, is the wireless charger too slow, which most of the wireless chargers in older cars are very slow. Okay, so we're getting on. This is not an interstate, but it is more or less like a little small highway. I'm gonna hit that boost button. Oh shit! Oh. People almost got a ticket. Oh man. Okay, I will say this. That boost button, this is not a Tesla Model S Plaid. This is not a Tesla Model Y Plaid. This is nowhere near that kind of speed, but it definitely does make you feel like you're getting that extra oomph when you need it. And we're in I pedal on a heel. You can see it came to a complete stop, no brakes touched. One of the things I found out that Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia all do is they do have a brake. They have a brake pad cleaning mode, and what happens is as you are, going out here, driving around using I pedal a lot, one pedal driving, your brake pads start to rust up because they're not getting used. So that mode basically disengages the I pedal and makes you use the conventional brakes to keep those discs clean. This is something that a lot of other manufacturers don't do, at least that I know of. So that's a really big plus to have that built into this car, or all of the EVs from the Hyundai Kia group. All right, so we put it in park and we're there. So let's talk about price and car and what we get on this guy. So this is the 2024 GV70 Advanced all-wheel drive. And this particular model, base price sticker is $66,450. We're adding on the Seville Silver. The paint is $650. They added in a cargo tray for the $160, the first aid kit, and the roof rail crossbars for $450. Brings you to a grand total with the freight and handling to $69,105. And of course, they do offer a Fred Anderson protection package, which throws in other things like premium window tinting and some door edge guards and a few other things in here. But the nice thing about this guy is for what you get in here, all the features that you get for the Advance, this is pretty well equipped. If I looked at the exact same car on a BMW iX, for instance, that car is easily in the $75,000 to $80,000 range, maybe even a little bit more. If I looked at the, a GLE, right, or EQE, excuse me, not GLE, but an EQE, that EQE is easily in the $80,000 to $90,000 range for something that has, if not all these features, maybe a little bit more here or there. It definitely will have, in the BMW's case, a little bit bigger screen. And of course, it's a full digital gauge cluster. Same thing for Mercedes. So I want to thank you guys once again for joining me on another episode of Keyless Entry. Thank you for looking at this brand new 2024 Genesis GV70 Electrified. So I hope you come back again and check out the next video we talk about, which is going to be a similar vehicle. And quick guess, if I'm in a 70, what's below 70? We'll see you soon.